and good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Kernel Media Tech and Crypto News Stream. With me, James Bondsama. It's great to have you with us. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in. Let's dive straight into what is going down in the tech news world. A lot of stuff. Plus, I also have some very interesting device checks for you in Tech Check. So I'm looking forward to getting into that and showing you guys exactly what the latest devices are, because it's very interesting if you're a gamer. And we also have a new game released this week that multiplayer RPGs and, well, certainly first-person shooters are going to love. So we're going to get into all that. Welcome to it. It's the Kernel News weekly news stream with me, James Bondsama. Let's kick it off with Alibaba getting into AI. Did you guys know that they were into AI? Well, you do now, because their Qwen AI family has claimed the top spot with record downloads and a new flagship model. It's their open weight Qwen. It surpassed 3 billion global downloads, overtaking Meta and Google to become the world's most downloaded AI family, with more than 460 variants and hundreds of thousands of derivatives. And the surge coincides with the release of the powerful Qwen 3.8 27B, a 27 billion parameter vision-capable large language model, and that delivers strong long context tool calling and coding performance under a permissive Apache 2.0 license. Can you believe it? They've claimed top spot, surpassing Meta and Google. Now, of course, this matters for us because it puts genuinely powerful free AI in our hands with no monthly subs, no sending of private chats and photos to US tech giants. That means users get the same level of power, smart writing, coding, creative tools that are these days reserved for paid subscribers who are also using US tech companies. So a real competition is now underway in the AI world. Speaking of AI, Anthropic have embedded invisible watermarks in Claude's generated text. This is very interesting. So what they've done is they've begun to embed subtle machine detectable fingerprints into text produced by its Claude models by slightly altering word probabilities during generation. The company says the technique allows reliable detection of AI written content while claiming it has no measurable impact on quality or readability. Now, the jury is still out, so it's going to be interesting to see if it does change the actual outputs and how these words and generated text actually reads. But it is a big one, because everyday people like us now have a real tool to check whether that a polished email, a news article, a job application, school essay was actually written by a human, or if it was quietly cooked up by AI. And of course, that's going to help us spot fakes. It's going to help us avoid scams, and it's going to keep the information that we're all relying on trustworthy. So big move from Anthropic. Going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds, though, because I don't think this is going to be easy to get 100% right. So we'll keep an eye on this one very, very carefully. Now, there's a lot of stuff happening in tech. So normally we do 2 tech stories, 2 crypto stories, and then get into Tech Check. But there's so much happening in the tech world. I've got one more story for you, and then we're even going to run through a couple of other headlines that you guys need to know, because there really is just so much. First one is, a federal judge has dealt a major blow to Meta ahead of child safety trial. So a federal judge in the US has handed Meta a significant setback just days before the start of its high-profile multi-state trial by ruling against the company on a critical witness issue. The lawsuit, brought by dozens of states, accuses Meta of deliberately designing addictive social media products that harm children's mental health and well-being. Now, it's a big one, because if the case succeeds, it could force Meta and other platforms to tone down the addictive tricks that keep kids glued to their screens for hours, giving parents a real shot at healthier digital habits and less anxiety, depression, and sleep loss for their children. Now, as a father of a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old, I can tell you that this is going to be interesting, because my son absolutely loves his Instagram. But of course, TikTok and YouTube are still right up there as the most addictive. So these federal lawsuits are going to have to go beyond just Meta and hit Google and TikTok as well. So this is going to be an interesting one to see how this pans out, because it's also interesting to see that the US are now finally clamping down as opposed to just the European Union. Right, here is the rest of the tech news that you guys need to know real quick. DeepSeek, they've officially launched version 4 Pro model. Obviously, the Chinese AI form, they've released a full flagship version with higher benchmarks and open source tooling, and they have signaled upcoming API price increases as well. OpenAI have disbanded its preparedness team. Now, this one is big news. The AI lab dissolved the group responsible for assessing catastrophic model risks, redistributing duties amid ongoing safety team shakeups ahead of a potential IPO. This makes me concerned, because why are they focusing on investor profits as opposed to safety? I think that should be something that we should all be concerned about, and disbanding that preparedness team, for me, is a bad signal indeed. And the last one in tech is that Apple have sent spyware alerts to users in 110 countries. Let me know in the chat right now if you were one of those that got these alerts. I didn't. Here in South Africa, I use an iPhone and a Mac, didn't get any of these alerts. But yesterday, the company apologies, this was not yesterday, this would have been Thursday, the company notified select iPhone owners of potential mercenary spyware attacks like the Pegasus style tools, delivering the warnings for the first time via a lock screen push notification. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's a really good move from Apple. Now, let's have a look at what's going on in crypto. What's the latest? What's the news that you guys need to know? Are you a crypto investor? Are you a speculator? Are you interested in the industry? The fact that you are here probably means you are. Let's have a look at what's going on and what's the news that you need to know. Only 2 crypto stories for you. The first one is World Liberty Financial Services. Trump's World Liberty Financial have secured a conditional U.S. bank charter. Of course, it's co-founded by members of the Trump family, and they've received preliminary approval from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency for a national trust bank charter. This marks a significant step towards bringing the firm into the traditional US banking system and expanding its regulated financial services. So this was promised by World Liberty, and it looks like they're delivering. That's really interesting. Of course, it's going to make crypto services feel safer for Americans and more familiar, and it puts a high-profile, politically connected platform under full federal bank oversight, which would, of course, open the door for easier, more trusted ways for regular people to buy, hold, and use crypto without relying on unregulated exchanges. Big move this for the US market. So I can't wait to see how that unfolds, and if they can put it all together, because it's one thing to hear the promises, but when it comes to federal rulings and federal regulation, it ain't easy. So I'm watching this one very closely. And then you might have heard this news, but in case you didn't, it is huge. Tether have completed the first full Big Four audit of its $180 billion USDT reserves. Everyone was talking about this. It's been going on for ages. I mean, we're talking way back in 2018, 2017, people were raising flags about USDT's reserves. It's finally happened. The issuer of the world's largest stablecoin, Tether, have finished their long-promised independent audit by a Big Four accounting firm covering the finances behind about 180 billion USDT. The completed review aims to finally address those years of questions about whether the token is fully backed by real reserves. And for the millions of people who use USDT daily to move money, trade, send remittance, it's a big story to have a clean Big Four audit. And that means greater confidence that the stable dollar they rely on won't suddenly collapse, as were the fears, and it reduces the risk of everyday losses from a major stable coin failure. The last time we had that kind of thing, a major stable coin was, of course, Terra Luna. So Ducoin's Terra Luna, and that has not been great for the industry. I think we're still suffering the reverberations of that. So it's great to see that the biggest have fully audited their US dollar reserves. They don't mention which of the Big Four did the audit, but they do say it was one of them. I did hear rumors that it was KPMG, but it's not 100% disclosed. So there you go. Now it's time for Tech Check, guys. What is the latest in tech devices and gaming that you guys should know about? The first one is a brand new gaming computer is here. It was launched last week, released, available already. The Acer Predator Helios Neo 16 is now officially out, and the prices are very attractive. The specs are amazing. There's two versions of it, the 16S, which is the slim version, or slim model. 16S stands for that, and then the 16. So AI powered, AI designed and geared for AI, but those two models are the 16 and 16S. This is what they look like side by side. So the slimline isn't as powerful as the full-sized version, or the full-powered version is what users are calling it. But you can see how sexy that slimline is. And what's interesting is the slimline is actually more expensive, which I'm going to jump into. But the slimline is more expensive because it has an OLED screen, whilst the more powerful version doesn't have an OLED screen. And then, of course, to compact all of that power into a smaller device with extra cooling, etc., I guess just costs a little bit more in engineering and what have you. So, but I think the OLED is certainly something that pushed the price up, and I'll show you the prices now. For now, let's have a look at the specs. I'm going to start with the slim version, which is under 19 millimeters. Can you believe that? I think that's probably the same thickness as my iPhone with its case on. So it's got up to Intel Core Ultra 7 3568 CPU plus an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 GPU, specifically designed for laptops. And then there's that OLED display I was talking about with the 2560 by 1600 resolution with a 165 to 240 hertz refresh rate. That is incredible, with a 1 millisecond response time. The NVIDIA G-Sync 100% DCI-P3 color available on that OLED screen. 16-inch is a nice size as well. It's got up to 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM and up to 2 terabytes of PCIe SSD storage. Features 5th gen Predator Aeroblade 3D cooling as well, which is what you need in a very high-powered computer like this. So this slimline version is retailing for around $1,825 to $2,230, with deals around the internet showing between $1,899 $1,900 for the RTX 5070 Ti and 32 gig models. The higher spec variants reach the upper end. Now, the high-powered version, this is what you're getting with that. The Intel Core Ultra 9 290HX CPU and the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 GPU with 16 gigs of GDDR7 VRAM. I mean, this is an absolute beast of a machine. Also has the 16-inch WGXGA IPS 240 hertz display, but it is not OLED. It does have G-Sync support and up to 64 gigs of DDR5 RAM with 2 terabytes of SSD. Strong for high settings 1440p gaming with DLSS and ray tracing as well. Prices on this high-powered version are between $1,690 and $1,900 for the mainstream RTX 5070 and 5070 Ti configs. Entry level starts around $1,750. The higher RTX 5080 or maxed out configs get right up to $2,500. So check it out if you haven't already. That is the Acer Predator Helios Neo 16. It is here. Talk about a super computer, man. Okay, the game that you need to know about this week is Hell Let Loose Vietnam. It's an entirely new game based on the Hell Let Loose series, but it's an entirely new game. This is not DLC. This is entirely original. So it's a standalone, large-scale tactical multiplayer first-person shooter set during the Vietnam War, and it was released just the other day. So, as I said, it's not a DLC for the original World War II Hell Let Loose. It's a full new game, and it keeps the same core formula: realistic, communication-heavy, squad-based combat, but it moves into the dense jungles, the river deltas, and of course the Vietnamese battlefields of the 60s and 70s Vietnam War. You can have 50 versus 50 battles. That's 100 players per server. You can fight as either the US Armed Forces or the North Vietnamese Army or the Viet Congs. That's asymmetric sides with different weapons, vehicles, and tactics. There are 6 large maps inspired by real Vietnam War locations featuring jungles, rice paddies, rivers, tunnels, open clearings, and it's got new systems with fully functional helicopters, tunnel networks, river patrol boats, napalm support, and a rebuilt supply system as well. There are 17 to 19 specialized roles and classes, and that's things like your medics, your drivers, your gunners, your pilots, all of that. And then there's a whole bunch of game modes as well. There's warfare, tug of war over sectors, offensive, several new variants, and a very strong emphasis on teamwork, voice communication, and realistic combat as well, including one well-placed shot can end you. Metacritic have it sitting at 78 out of 100. That's a 78% rating for Hell Let Loose Vietnam, which is pretty damn impressive if you ask me. It is available on PC via Steam, PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series consoles as well, with full cross-play supported, not available on Switch, unfortunately. It's published by Expression Games, Team 17. It became available last week, Thursday, and it's going to cost you $40. The deluxe edition, which includes extra uniform packs, field supplies, cosmetic content, for $60. And the unfortunate news is it is not available on gaming subscriptions like X Pass, so you have to buy the game. $40 is what it's going to cost you, $60 if you want the extras. This is quick run through of what the actual gameplay looks like. Very, very cool, old school 60s, 70s armaments here. It really looks impressive. And there they are running through the jungle. It really, really does look like something. You got the Huey up there as well. So a lot of people rating this 78 out of 100 on Metacritic. I think that's something to check out. And that wraps up Colonel News' weekly news stream. Thanks, guys, for watching. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If you didn't, then let me know. What do you want to see more of? Every Monday, 1:30 p.m. UTC. And I appreciate everybody tuning in and saying hi. I'll catch you guys same time, same place next week. This is James Bondsama signing out. Make sure that you are following us live on James Bondsama, Colonel Tech News, one word, Global Crypto TV, one word, and subscribe on YouTube, Global Crypto TV on YouTube. Until next time, guys.